Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
My hair, as you can see, is thin here. And it's kind of like poofy here, and it's curly. And I usually I try to go natural, so I try to not put much stuff in my hair and not do any blow dry or flat line as much as I can. And then as far as I already told you I did a lot of henna for years, and then
When was the last henna?
more than a year. So I stopped because I have a lot of gray hair, so all of that would pick the orange color and it would look pretty bad. So then I started using semi-permanent, and I think the orange that you see here is from semi. And last time I did it was December, beginning of December, and then I stopped after I texted you. And so what I want to do, I don't know, I'm sure everything that I'm going to say is not going to be possible to 100%, but ideally, I want to do something that makes me look younger. I'm not ready to go fully like black and purple. What do they call it? Salt and pepper? Salt. But I want to see if maybe we can do, I don't know, highlights, low light, polish.
Can I see your inspo picture?
Yes. So, okay, so originally I was thinking something like this, but then my mom is like, this is like gray and black, and so it's basically the same, and she's like, this is going to make you look old. So she was saying maybe I will do something like these. So, well, like, I know her hair is longer, but like this, I think this is too much. So, or maybe like this.
More on the blonde side than gray.
So yeah, but the thing is, like, when my hair starts to grow and it will show like the gray, I hate that phase. And I know, like, to avoid that, I have to repeat doing the hair dye and everything. So if possible, to do something that would make it a little longer, so instead of like every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe if you can do like every 6 weeks or even more, that would be great.
Okay.
So anything you recommend. And so that's why I like the idea of gray blending. So when my roots start growing, they would kind of like blend in, and it wouldn't show. But then I don't know if I go this color, the blonde, then I have black hair, and then the gray would it show? Because if it does, then maybe we can go more like this color, like ash brown. This ash brown here. I like her hair very much.
Like those? Okay. Okay, I'll try my best to get it as light as possible, but if we can't, we might have to even do something darker than those photos, just depending on how light your hair gets after today. But as far as the blend, it seems like you want something a little bit lighter in the front and then very dimensional in the back. Nothing that's too blonde.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I have a newer client and we are going to be doing my gray blending technique on her. So she came in wanting to kind of blend out and have something that's going to grow out a little bit soft on her, and just have something that is going to just complement her natural gray pattern. You could tell from this clip that she has a lot more gray around her face rather than the back, so we're going to do something more dimensional and just not too blonde, but just something to give her a good like transition, so when her hair grows out it looks a little bit more seamless and more intentional. So for this placement, I am using the Danger Jones lightener, and since she has more shorter hair and we're going to be doing something more dimensional anyways, I'm just going in with the Danger Jones bleach and just 20 volume. So I begin in the back, in the nape of the head. I do a detailed weave around her nape, and I jump right into my center mohawk section. And for this, I like to mostly just slice my mohawk sections, especially when a client has pretty much all dark. Now, if a client had some pre-existing highlights or wanted something like a softer grout, I would definitely weave it. But since we are working with pretty much a blank canvas, in my opinion, because it's all dark and we're trying to go light, that is why I am going in and doing slices, because the slicing is really going to give you that more high impact with each foil that you do. But I am leaving a bit of negative space. I would say my spacing between the slices are probably about like ½ an inch in the back here, and I'm just doing this in the middle of her head and just kind of making sure that I get a really good saturation and I am taking my slices nice and see-through because her hair is dark. And from the consult, guys, she did mention that she has used henna in her hair before, and she also used like a semi-permanent color in her hair before. And so when she initially texted me, I kind of turned her away and told her that she needed to grout her hair a little bit, so she waited a few months, and then we did end up scheduling this appointment because I normally do not take clients if they have any type of henna in their hair. I just, from past experience, have dealt with a client that had some henna in it and it just had a really weird reaction with the lightener. So it's just really important to do a thorough consultation and make sure that you know that any like chemical service that is being done on any client, because I find that whenever there is like henna or maybe even sometimes a straightening treatment, it can make the hair a little weaker or make it a lot more difficult to lighten up the hair. So I finished off that mohawk section until I reached her hairline, and for her money piece, since she has more gray in the front, I did some slices back to back, and then I also connected the side with some slices as well. Now that I'm working right above the ear and connecting the back to the front, I do a weave right above the ear, and then after that I'm going to continue my normal slicing pattern. And again, I am keeping the sections about a ½ inch apart, and then I will be doing some tip outs at the end, mostly around her face because she does want the front to be lighter. So I'm not going to really tip out the back because she wants it dimensional and her hair is short. So when we do our tip outs, we're just going to be doing a few tip outs in the front, and unfortunately I didn't get a clip of that, but I just do like my normal over direct tease and do a really light, nice and see-through tip out. So our goal essentially is to really lift her as light as possible. And considering her color history, I had a feeling that her hair would have a bit of an issue when lightening it, and it did. So now that we're pulling out her mohawk, you can see that her root lifted really pretty. It's like a nice like level 9, 10 in those areas. But I started to notice that her mids and ends, where she might have had her previous color done, it did have like some warmth in it that didn't allow it to lighten as light as the root. And so during this part, when I'm pulling out these foils, it's really important, if I want to relighten any areas, to keep the hair isolated. So you can see we're holding the hair and keeping it separate even though we've pulled out the foils, because I want to hit those ends just a little bit more. Her hair still felt fine, but I felt like you can see that the ends are just like a hint of like coppery orange, and I just wanted to lighten it just a little bit more to kind of get it a little bit more even. Otherwise we would have had to tone everything a lot darker. Now this really varies on the client, and I wouldn't recommend it if clients' ends were not feeling great, but her hair felt good and she keeps her hair more like a bob and on the shorter side, so I wasn't too worried or anything like that. So when you're formulating for any type of ash tones, you want to take into consideration that ash tones fade very fast. So if you've seen my other gray blending videos, I normally will do like a more violet-y gray tone if we are aiming for the color gray. But from our consultation, she didn't want it to be too salt and pepper. She did want it to look more of like an ash blonde. And so when I do these ash tones, I do like to tone a little bit more so that it kind of fades into the color that they want. So I am using the Danger Jones gloss toners for this formulation because this is going to kind of create, she's going to leave looking more of like a grayer ash blonde opposed to more of a violet gray, because this is going to fade out in a few washes to that ash blonde that she was looking for. And so for her root formula, I did the 5-1 with clear, and then on her ends I used the 9-12 and mixed that up with the 6-01, and you guys will see at the end, it looks very neutral. It doesn't look too violet, too blue, nothing. It looks more like a true toned, like ash blonde gray, because in one wash, it's going to immediately turn into that beautiful ash blonde that we had discussed in our consultation. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. I feel like it looks so good. It looks more neutral, and I feel like this is going to fade out beautifully. It looks definitely more ash blonde than any type of more gray violet that I normally do for my gray blending, but we love the way that this turned out. I love the dimension, and I like how it gradually gets a little bit lighter towards the front. You can see the blend, and some of those tip outs that I brought in the front really does complement her natural gray pattern. And when this fades out, it will fade out more so blonde and beigey. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.